Hi and welcome back to the Hydonso region. My name is Mads, and did you know that I'm known for making a short animated film about dyslexia? Yes, my main work is actually special education and creating art about how does it feel to have dyslexia and other learning challenges. 10 years ago, I created a short animated movie called I Am Dyslexic. And because it's the film's 10 years anniversary, I wanted to create Fakemon based on this film, starting out with scrapped monster IDs that I always felt would work great as Pokemon. In the film, the characters are climbing a mountain created out of books, so naturally, the creatures living there is also made out of books. Some of the sketches looked like this, which will be the baseline for the Pokemon we're gonna create in this video. This leads me to a problem that I had. I wanted to connect all of them. So I got the idea to create a bookworm. I played around with the idea of using different already existing Fakemons that I had. I did want the Pokemon to be wrapped in some sort of paper, so I was thinking about scrolls. I ended up unsatisfied with the designs I created, despite them being cute. After some research into actual bookworms, which doesn't look like worms at all, an idea popped into my head. What if I create a convergent evolution of Applin? This idea created consistency and solved so many of the problems that I was facing. So it was quite simple. I put Applin in a ball of paper and now it's called Poplin. Isn't it cute? Poplin, the bookworm Pokemon. Bug, normal type. Ability, overcoat and frisk. Hidden ability, opportunist. Dex entry. Poplin hoards paper to use as both protective covering and an emergency food source. It spends its days searching for the tastiest books to devour, making it a notorious pest among librarians. It is said to be a distant evolutionary cousin of Applin. Its shiny has a more dull paper with red lines, referring to dyslexics who get told off by their spelling mistakes. And I made the body a little bit more dull looking, making it look like it has lived a long time. Not only is it really cute, but it turned out way better than I expected. I love how tiny it is. Do you like Poplin as much as me? And you're probably wondering, how do you evolve this Pokemon? Well, just like Applin, you have three options. Instead of apples, you would evolve it using different books. And we will start with the old journal. This will give you Bookbat, the very first creature I created for the short film. And it's really cute, and I originally didn't plan to change anything at all, just give it a cool pose. However, because I wanted to evolve it, I felt like it didn't work with its evolution. So I kept pushing for different types of poses and made small adjustments. And when I decided to play around with its antennas and make them into eyes, is when I got the Applin ID. An ID that changed every single design in this video. But for Bookbat, that meant that I flipped it around and based it on a journal, making the spine its main body, giving it a tail and feet. Really put it all together for me. And despite being really cute, it ended up a tiny bit scarier than I first thought it would be. And the reason for that is because of its evolution. Bookbat, the flying book Pokemon. Flying normal type. Ability, gluttony and ripen. Hidden ability, opportunist. Dex entry. After consuming a journal, Bookbat gains the ability to fly. It spends long periods laying dormant among ordinary books, perfectly mimicking them to avoid detection. Naturally curious, this Pokemon greedily feeds on the knowledge and experiences recorded by others. For its shiny, it actually has the colors that I originally planned for this Pokemon, but black looks so much better and makes sense for this line, making the shiny look more new than its regular design, even though the coloring of its main body is a little bit more dull looking. When I first started creating the Pokemon for this video, there was no way I thought that Bookbat would look like this. But I'm very happy with its outcome, and I hope you are too. And in order to evolve Bookbat, you need to use a new move called Knowledge Drain. The user does physical damage and drains the target's knowledge. The move drains 1 PP from the last move the foe used. If the foe hasn't used an attack yet, it will be random. It may also cause a target to be confused. I do find it fascinating that Game Freak haven't really played around with the idea of stealing the target's PP. Maybe this is something that Game Freak will play around with in Gen 10. If Bookbat uses this move 3 times, it will evolve into Alphabat. This whole design is based on the pun, changing the A in the alphabet to Alphabat. So naturally, I turned it into a Dracula-looking Pokemon. As I said earlier, I felt like something was missing when I created Bookbat, and when I played around with the sketches for Alphabat, I felt the same. I struggled with the face looking more animalistic than I initially intended to, and naturally this changed when I got the idea to use the Applin line as a base inspiration. Though I didn't want its ears to be like Applin's eyes. As a result, it ended up looking like Dragon Bat hybrid, but I'm okay with that because it draws in different elements and inspirations that all fitted together perfectly. I had a very specific pose in mind, which looked like it was inviting you to join it. Other than a head, I found it difficult to make the body look the way I intended it to, for it to look like a vampire, but also a book. This is where the folded paper came in, but also the old journal that kinda created a belt, and I could form the body around that. And once again, using the bookmarks as limbs. Originally I wanted the arms and feet to be red, but it just didn't look good. I also originally planned for it to have a more grey, dark green coloring for its head, but ultimately scrapped that also. Alphabat, the journal Pokemon. Poison flying type. Ability Wisdom Drain and Poison Touch. Hidden ability Costa. Dex entry. Alphabat has completely fused with the ancient book it carries, accumulating vast knowledge over the course of its long life. Forever hungry for more, it drains the memories and abilities of its prey, often leaving them with amnesia. Despite its immense intellect, this Pokemon rarely uses its knowledge for anything beyond satisfying its endless greed. And for a shiny, I made the journal red and the papers a little bit more new looking. Around 10 years ago, I came up with the name Alphabat, and I knew it would work so well as a Pokemon. And I definitely think I succeeded, and I hope you agree. But before you tell me in the comments what you do think about Alphabat, let's talk about its new ability, Wisdom Drain. All draining moves steals the foe's PP. Steal 2 PP from the last move the foe used. If the foe hasn't used an attack yet, it will be random. This ability has a 30% chance to stack with a move Knowledge Drain. Do you think it's a little bit overpowered, or would it work? Let me know and give this video a like if you enjoyed so far. Next up, what happens when you give Poplin homework? Well, then it evolves into a Bookipede. At some point in the development of my short film, we played around with the idea that the homework would come alive and he had to defeat it. This is what I based Bookipede on. So I added some centipede inspiration and started drawing. Bookipede and its evolution looks the most different from the whole Applin concept. Originally there was supposed to be a separate line, but I feel like it works with the idea of giving Poplin different books as evolution stone, so to say. I ended up having to redesign it a few times until I found a design that I was satisfied with. In the beginning, it looked too much just like a book. After a few attempts, I managed to create a personality that I wanted, especially with the amplification of certain body parts, like its tail, making it look somewhat like a scorpion, which works really well because I wanted to hunt Pokemon that I will base on dyslexia and other learning challenges. I ended up switching its colors by the end, because most of the books that my main character has in the short film is red. Bookipede, the homework Pokemon. Bug, normal type. Ability, quick feet and trace. Hidden ability, normalize. Dex entry. Bookipede evolved a dormant form to dwell unnoticed among library shelves. It feeds on the frustration of children struggling with homework. Known to hunt Neurokid in silence, it strikes swiftly with a sharp tip of its tail before vanishing back into the stacks. The shiny is based on the book that the female character in my short film uses. I really like Bookipede. I think the pose is really cool. It took a few attempts, but it was worth it. And in order to evolve it, it needs to defeat 3 Neurokids. Doing so will make it evolve into Encyclopedi. Another genius name if I have to say so myself. Though there is always this one Pokemon in every video that is difficult to create. And in this case, it's Encyclopedi. So in early development of my short film, the character had to fight this massive centipede book avalanche creature, but it was later just changed to become an avalanche of books. But it didn't really have a face, so it was difficult to put a face on it that made it look intimidating and cool. But I also wanted a little bit derpy. I really struggled with a pose, but I used Centiskorch to get a basic centipede pose down. But I felt like something looked wrong. It looked too squished and tiny. So after a few attempts, I managed to make it lean over, and then it felt like this intimidating book stack that I wanted. Encyclopedi, the library Pokemon. Bug, normal type. Ability, quick feet and trace. Hidden ability, normalize. Dex entry. A colossal Pokemon that can become so vast that it can inhabit a whole library when dormant. Countless books covering Encyclopedi's body are actually individual Bookipeds that can act independently. It eagerly battles its longtime rival Champlexia whenever the two encounter each other. Although it bears a striking resemblance to Centiskorch, researchers have found no evidence that the two Pokemon are related. Its shiny follows the same theme as its pre-evolution, being based on the girl character in my short film. I'm so glad that I changed Encyclopedi one last time before finishing this video. If you create art and you feel like something is wrong, do take your time to change it. I found Encyclopedi to be challenging in a way that there is a lot going on, yet I feel like I managed to balance it somewhat and still make it look like a Pokemon. But maybe you disagree. Make sure to let me know in the description below. And originally the video was supposed to end here, but then I got another idea. So if you give a fictional book to Paplin, it will evolve into Comink. When I created Bookbat, I also came up with the idea of a squid book. I had no plans for creating it into a Pokemon either, but then when the whole Applin idea came up, I played around with different sketches, and then I ended up with a design. I was like, oh, I need to make this into a Pokemon. That was its evolution, however, and not Comink. But after going back and forth for a while if I wanted to include the final evolution or not, I eventually decided to treat it as the other lines and create a middle evolution. And so Comink was born. I made an effort to make each of the second stages look different and inhabit a book differently. So since I didn't have one with its eyes on the side of a book yet, that's what Comink turned into. Comink, the fiction Pokemon. Normal, bug type. Ability, suction cups and gluttony. Hidden ability, contrary. Dex entry. After inhabiting a fictional book, Paplin evolves into Comink. It hides beneath bookshelves and uses its long bookmark tentacles to strangle unsuspecting prey. Comink are highly territorial and often clash with destiny over territory. The shiny colors are actually the colors that I originally planned for it, having more comic-like colors, but I prefer the other colors, so it became the colors of its shiny instead. Comink is quite strange, but I like it for that. It has this strange octopus kind of vibe, which is what I was going for. What do you think about Comink, and would you have it on your team? But maybe you are curious to see what it evolves into first. And the way it evolves will give you an idea of what direction we are going, because it will evolve with the move Future Vision. This will give you Skyreader. If you're a Futurist Wild fan, you would know that they planned not only to create a second season, but also a VR game. And one of the monsters in that show would be a flying squid. So after adding the Applin ID to Bookbat, I played around with a few designs, and I quickly realized the potential that I could do here. I turned this flying book into a flying squid, and so I did. I also took some inspiration from Electros and kites to create this very niche looking flying book squid Pokemon. The ID was just too cool not to do. Skyreader. The speculative Pokemon, flying type. Ability, Wind Rider and Aerialate. Hidden ability, Contrary, Dex Entry. Once Comink gains the power to see the future, it evolves into Skyreader. This Pokemon endlessly soared through the skies, snatching prey with its tentacles without even landing. Bookbat is its favorite prey. Because Skyreader never enters a dormant state, libraries consider it a constant nuisance. Its shiny is once again a reference to the girl from my short film. I love when I make Pokemon and it just pops up another ID that I just have to do. And Skyreader is the absolute example of this. And it works so well with the whole theme of the region, with speculative evolutions, and it being a book. This is just perfect. The design of it isn't too cool or anything, it's just the concept itself that is cool. And sometimes that's enough. What do you think about Skyreader, and would you have it on your team? Or maybe you prefer some of the other ones? Let me know which one. And yes, I am aware, I have a few squids and I have a few bats in the region already. But to my defense, they all live in different habitats and are based on different things. And to me, it's more important to allow the creative flow to just go wherever it needs to go. My favorite of this video is Encyclopedi. Let me know yours, and here is the hint for the upcoming video. You see, I have a video about ADHD also that you can watch on my other channel, and I intend to create Pokemon based on ADHD also. I recommend you checking out this video next, where I create Pokemon based on Egyptian mythology. And of course, you need to check out my short animated film, I Am Dyslexic, over on my other channel. Thank you so much for watching. I'm looking forward to see you in the next video, where we're gonna draw them all. Mads out.